Live from Nasdaq's MarketSite, I'm your host, Christina Ayanian. And joining me today is Chief Financial Officer of Lacework, Andrew Casey. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
Now, cybersecurity isn't a new space, so why is there such a big wave in VC investment and all this buzz around newer companies like Lacework?
It's a great question. So there's a couple major trends that people should understand. First is that cloud computing is increasing. More and more enterprises are putting their data, their applications, their users into the cloud. And they're doing that because it's more efficient than operating their own independent sites and their own independent systems. So for on-premise. So that's one major trend. You see a lot of things moving that direction. The next major trend that a lot of people continue to talk about is digital transformation. Well, that means that more and more businesses are automating through software. And so the more software that gets created, the more places that it's finding its way into the cloud. So in systems and applications and workflows, they're being increasingly developed to address this need to automate and be more efficient. And the last major trend is that more and more you see security-related technologies are being transformed by this movement to the cloud. The old VPNs and classic technologies that were used for blocking security threats, they don't have their place in the cloud the way they used to for on-premise environments. And so this whole transformation is happening. And that's causing, frankly, more and more number of cyber attacks and more sophistication around it. And so what you see is that this market is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. In fact, Gartner estimates that by 2026, the market for security is going to be $265 billion. So that's nearly doubling over 5 years. And most of that is related to this transformation, this digital transformation and the movement to the cloud. So all these major trends are attracting investments from venture capitalists as they see that new and innovative security technologies are going to be required to protect businesses and user information in the cloud.
So it's safe to say that cloud security is not a nice to have, but it's a need to have.
You know, it's absolutely correct. Every business going forward will have some presence in the cloud. And that means that they need to have some form of security to protect their data, their assets, their users. And that's why it's so important.
What's the most important thing that our audience should know about cloud security?
So back to what you just mentioned, that every enterprise business is going to have it, right? They're going to need it. And it's because of these major trends. Now, what's different that users should understand is that the ways in which security companies have approached this problem in the past is that they waited for an incident to happen. They waited for something to be exposed as a vulnerability or a data breach to occur. And then they'd all update their technologies to say, look, we're going to block this so it doesn't happen to you. Too bad for the other guy, but we're going to make sure that you're okay. Well, that doesn't work in the cloud anymore, especially given the changes that are happening so rapidly. There's increasingly more applications, more workloads, more users, and the pace is only increasing with new large language models and the ability to create software in a more effective and efficient way. So the reality is you've got to have a cloud security solution that addresses these major issues, that can adapt with the cloud, that can scale with business needs. In fact, that's what Lacework was founded on, that we didn't take a traditional approach of trying to block the known threats, but rather really understand the whole environment that a user or an enterprise would be in. And when changes occur, that we can detect those things that are truly anomalistic, that are truly security threats that the businesses need to understand. So there's lots of pretenders out there that are trying to use old technology to apply it to a new space. Lacework approaches this as a whole new area that needs to be addressed from a data perspective.
That's very interesting. It sounds like the cloud, everything is connected in the cloud, and Lacework is evolving as the space is evolving as well.
That's absolutely correct. In fact, one of the key advantages that Lacework has, not only is data approach, but we have over 300 engineers that are focused on developing these new technologies to take advantage of environments that are being created. So we've just introduced a whole new set of capabilities that address understanding the assets that are being created in the cloud more effectively. And if you understand your assets and you understand your workloads more effectively, then you can protect against unknown threats. Like you can predict where hackers may try to expose you. So if you can be less reactive and more predictive, invariably you will be more secure.
Like you mentioned, it's a very crowded market, expected to reach over $250 billion. What makes Lacework unique?
So I think it's really our approach and how we're addressing the evolving security landscape issues. And we've attracted a number of really great, talented scientists that were at Google or at Stripe, at Facebook, and they understand how to build big data platforms. Because of that, we're able to address the issues much more rapidly than other competitors in the marketplace. And that's really what you want. If you're an enterprise enterprise that's moving your data, your applications, your users to the cloud, you want a partner that's actually going to understand how your business is operating and provide technologies and solutions that make you more secure.
Absolutely. You're that trusted partner and you're essentially acting as an extension of your customers' teams.
Correct.
Now, AI, ChatGPT, they're all buzzwords we hear in the news nowadays. How does AI affect cloud security?
So it's a little probably too early to tell, but I will tell you that one thing we know is the case is that large language models and AI will help to increase the pace with which cloud adoption occurs and software is developed. So as you think about cloud security, one of the major areas of exposure is when new applications get created. So it's logical to think as application pace increases, with more and more enterprises having more applications, more workflows, that the threat landscape is going to increase as well. And so Lacework's addressing that issue head on by addressing this as a big data problem and addressing issues before people actually know it. In fact, we just released a brand new technology called composite alerts. Well, that's our ability to take all that data together and not just independently understand where there's anomalies, but bring them together and understand where there's a really big threat. So many companies today, they've got security technologies, and they give them a lot of different alerts. But a lot of times those alerts are what we call false positives. They're not real. They're not really actionable. There's nothing going on. But when you use composite alerts, you understand the ones that you really need to prioritize, because that's where a real threat exists.
And that way, are you able to prevent it in the future?
Correct.
As CFO, why should other CFOs care about cloud security?
So first, it basically goes back to that every enterprise is going to have some need for cloud security, and that increasingly the business isn't just about your operations; it's about your operations in the cloud. So in that respect, the security of those data, those assets, becomes tantamount to your success. In fact, the SEC is increasingly driving new obligations, new disclosure requirements, new regulations, and so now it's a board level discussion. And most CFOs that are public in nature, they'll have an audit committee. That audit committee now has cybersecurity as a main tenet to what they're reviewing and making sure that their companies are protected for. And so CFOs have to be understanding of not just the business issues that result from cybersecurity, but how best to partner and align to these new requirements. Now, the other things that CFOs will do, and I know this because I do this all the time, is I want to make sure I'm partnering with the right technology companies to provide us their services. And in cloud security, what a CFO will want is to make sure that as their business grows, that the security can scale with them, that the solution can scale with their needs. And because of the way Lacework is architected, that's one of our tenets, that we can scale as business scales as well, and provide those protections, not just for the known threats, but the ones that are unknown today.
It's kind of like, technology and IT are now not siloed with business metrics. Everything is interconnected.
You're absolutely right. The business is related to IT. There's no way to get away from it. Every company is going through digital transformations. They're doing it through technology.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. We look forward to continue following.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.